Wif.
Azone Mapala.
Good afternoon, good people. You're welcome to today's Royal Afternoon edition, the 2 p.m. news on 88.4 Royal FM. My name is Mapala Zita. We begin with our top stories. Youth, moral, civic, and entrepreneurship rearmament, a guarantee for discipline in building a united and prosperous Cameroun. This is the theme under which the 57th National Youth Day will be celebrated come February the 11th. Plus, we come back to the tragic demise of media personality Martinez Zogo with civil society activists. And out of the country, we will take you on a tour through Africa and Europe. And in sports, of course, sportsman Eratus Ndowe has prepared a full package for us. Ladies and gentlemen, those were our top stories. Please stay with us. You're welcome to the 2 p.m. news on 88.4 Royal FM. The National Youth Day 2023 will be celebrated under the theme Youth, Moral, Civic, and Entrepreneurship Rearmament, a guarantee for discipline in the building of a united and prosperous Cameroon. The theme was chosen by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, and was made known by the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Monona Fotso, yesterday in a press release. Political party leaders are left with 3 days to submit their candidacy files for the upcoming senatorial elections slated for March the 12th, 2023. And as some political parties are gathering all what it takes to run the senatorial elections, our reporter Germain caught up with an expert in governance to find out the type of senator needed at this point in time for decentralization.
Voting a vibrant and dynamic senator to effectively carry out decentralization in Cameroon is possible if some factors are considered, according to this expert in governance, Mark Abiako.
Senator offers functions to propose, debate on the voting and amendments of bills, decide matters of national interest, scrutinize the executive arm of the government, represent the interests of their people in their various regions and divisions. So, in this affair, we look up to the 10,636 members of the 360 municipal councils to vote vibrant senators.
And if Cameroon's parliament is a Republican one, those running for senatorial elections should
take the prerogative to scrutinize the executive with regard to the dispatch of the budget to decentralized entities to ensure that there is proper accountability and also ensure that money should not remain in the pocket of some people and that the projects that have been outlined should be realized at the end of the day.
These and more should therefore be taken into account before voting a senator.
Germain in that report. A report from the National Institute of Statistics holds that the production cost of locally produced food products will increase. This increase, according to the report, is due to the economic crisis hitting most countries around the world. Now, to get other factors that contribute to the rise of this production, Germain caught up with a local producer in the person of Tata Basilius, and let's listen to him in the following excerpt.
On the major aspects
linked to hiking prices of agro products is as a result of the scarcity in the market linked to poor harvest that was recorded in the past season. And secondly, I think the hiking prices of farm inputs equally added to the cost of production, and the farmers too have to add the price to break even. Those are the two major aspects. As a producer, all we need to do is to also add the price of the produce relative to the price of the inputs that we use in producing, because we, the producers, are not the owners of the farm inputs that we use in production. So as the price is rising, we too have to add the prices of food crops so as to balance the cost of production and make some little gains.
A drastic fall in the agricultural sector, commerce, construction and beverage industry will be recorded this year according to the CEMAC economic forecast test. In other words, if certain sectors and branches of activities shall experience an improvement, this will not be the case for others whose production could have a negative impact on the national economy. An economist here now throws more light on this CEMAC economic forecast. Let's take a listen to Dr. Tumenta Kennedy.
The first quarter projection is going to be slowed down due to the challenges that most agricultural producers are having, partly due to increase in input prices, post-harvest loss, and the loss in consumers' purchasing power that is a result of, let's say, the high expenditure that they spend during the festive period. On the other hand, we will see that in the construction industry, we'll be seeing some challenges in the construction industry still due to the fact that the purchasing power is low, partly because the input prices are still high. And if you look at the back of cement and zinc, the cost of this very, very expensive. That is making it very difficult for people to engage more in the construction industry, despite the fact that the weather is favorable for construction. We can also see that in other sectors, such as trade and moreover harvesting agricultural sector, we are still having a lot of problem because the supply chain, the war in Ukraine, the impact is still dominant, as we can see that input prices and delayed time of transportations as well as the supply chains, they are making it very difficult for companies to have predictability, as well as the standard costing model becomes very difficult for them to use because of the volatility of the prices in the market.
Still to come in this newscast, we revisit the tragic demise of media personality Martinez Zogo, and civil society activists have been talking.
As far as civil society is concerned, I know that there will be some mobilization. Let us hope that the truth is going to be known, because that is the main focus now for everybody, that we have to know the truth and make sure that those who are implicated in this horrible situation face due consequences.
If you're just tuning in, you're on to the 2 p.m. news on 88.4 Royal FM. Just like you heard a while ago, few days after the brutal killing of journalist Martinez Zogo, the civil society has not remained indifferent. They have begun mobilizing efforts to ensure that proper investigations are carried out and justice be served. Fringway Crispin spoke to one of them and now reports.
Inquiries and investigations have been opened by the state in order to crack down the murderers of the late Martinez Zogo, but Eva Etonge Meyer, a civil society activist, attests hope is the only thing left at this juncture.
Let us hope that they are going to do a good job, because this situation is a situation where everybody will like to know what is the truth. And I'm sure that if the truth is not known after their inquiries, Cameroonians are not going to be happy, as they are not happy actually. So we wish that they should really do their job. I don't want to have in my spirit that they are not going to do their job. No, I'm sure that the blood of a human being is more than our willing. So the blood of Martinez Zogo is going to speak to them and let them do their job.
However, on their part, human rights activists and the civil society are embarking on a justice mission for the late journalist, as Eva Etonge explains.
As far as civil society is concerned, I know that there will be some mobilization. Let us hope that the truth is going to be known, because that is the main focus now for everybody, that we have to know the truth and make sure that those who are implicated in this horrible situation face due consequences.
The civil society activist further reveals that this incident may have a huge consequence in the Cameroonian society.
Everything we know is going on, actually, especially in this case, is very bad for a society, it's very bad for a state of human rights in Cameroon, it's very bad for everybody, because this is a type of situation that can cause what they call in French la psychose générale in the society, and we don't need to be in that type of situation in Cameroon, because there is no more serenity when you have a population with general psychose.
Proper and transparent investigations are the only tools necessary for justice to be served to the late journalist Martinez Zogo. This, according to Eva Etonge, a civil society activist.
The Cameroon Journalist Trade Union CJTU continues to condemn the heinous assassination of renowned broadcaster Martinez Zogo and calls on all media men and women to, among others, wear black on this Wednesday, 25th of January 2023 as a sign of mourning. Here now is the National Vice President of the Cameroon Journalist Trade Union, Elise Kenimbeni, who sheds light on this call for media workers to wear black. She spoke to Germenta.
Going by the traditions, wearing of black is a symbolic act. The black color symbolizes mourning and a somber occasion to show respect for the deceased, and that's why we want to highlight. That's the message that we want to pass through, that the public, the national and international communities who are aware of what happened recently have to know that the journalists in Cameroon are very angry. Enough is enough. And we at the Cameroon Journalist Trade Union, we have issued so far 2 press releases on the 22nd and 24th of January 2023, calling on all our colleagues and friends who wish to follow the pace in mourning late Martinez Zogo, who was brutally killed, to join the move. This is the first step of several initiatives undertaken so far after decrying the inhumane act, which was shown to the world on Sunday. So that's the reason why we are wearing black, to show that we are angry, to pass on a message.
Germain further went to find out the expectations of the Cameroon Journalist Trade Union from the national vice president of that union.
As concerns our expectations, we have nothing new to expect from the government, apart from asking for justice and equality. In a press conference granted yesterday in Douala, the national president Marion Obam has summoned the government to shed light on the atrocities committed once more on journalists. Recently, we raised our voices to demand justice for Samuel Wazizi. Today, we do same for Martinez Zogo. And I said before, enough is enough. We want our voices to be echoed. We need an in-depth and independent inquiry commission to be set up. We can't fold our arms and accept that journalists are murdered in the course of their duties. We have the duty to decry such acts, and today, like ever, we once more say no to the killings of journalists in Cameroon. We are a trade union, so we have several cases at hand, and every day we ensure that the right to information prevails and that journalists are protected when unfairly attacked or imprisoned. So this is the same case for our late peer, Martinez Zogo, who we think deserves justice, and in the days ahead, we shall put in place other strategies if our voices are not heard.
Now, since the body of the late Martinez Zogo was found in the Swan neighborhood, the government of Cameroon has put in place an investigation commission in order to crack down the perpetrators responsible for the gruesome killing of the late Zogo. But what exactly is an investigation commission? Ebako Collins is a legal mind.
First of all, I want to join the voices of Cameroonians to say condolences to the family and to all those concerned. The government says it has opened an investigation commission. Well, by operation of the law, an investigation commission is already in existence with regards to felonies committed, as this one, murder adoption, is a felony. And there are already authorities designated by the law to carry out the investigations. And according to Section 78 of the Cameroon Criminal Procedure Code, the judicial police officer or the judicial police agent or special civil servant designated for the same purpose under the supervision of the state council where the act was committed have the right to open investigation with immediate effect.
Ebako Collins rounds up by highlighting the role of the investigation commission instituted by the government.
Their role is to ensure that those who committed such an act, they are being identified and they are being brought under the law for the law to have its course on them. Now, how do they operate? The judicial police, under the supervision of the State Council, investigate the offenses, murder, abduction, collects evidence, identify the offenders, accomplices, and brings them under the law. Now, in case such as this, a murder of Zogo, it might be difficult because the body was being deposited. But when you look at collecting evidence, there are materials that could be collected and evidence adduced with immediate effect. But now it is left for those who are designated to carry out their work. So how well they carry out their work will determine whether the perpetrators will actually be brought to the full force of the law. Well, we pray and we hope the commission actually carry out the investigation as the government says, or as those who have been designated to do so.
We take you out of Cameroon, and our first stop is in South Africa, where the South Africa's main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, DA, is holding a march in Johannesburg to protest against worsening power cuts across that country. The march is heading towards the headquarters of the governing ANC party. A footage shows many carrying placards written "Enough is enough," as they blame the ruling party for creating the problem through poor management of the power utility Eskom and an aging fleet of coal fire stations. South Africa have been experiencing regular blackouts since last year, leaving homes, hospitals, and businesses in the dark for several hours each day. Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov has arrived in Angola, this amidst local media reports that there were worries that Moscow was angry over recent moves by Angola that could be seen as a shift from its neutral stance on the Russo-Ukrainian war. Mr. Lavrov is expected to meet President João Lourenço today at the presidential palace in the capital, Luanda, where the two leaders are expected to discuss bilateral relations, among other matters. Hundreds of Amazon workers in the United Kingdom's warehouse have today staged a walkout in the first ever strike to reject a 50p pay rise. Members of the GMB union who work at the company's fulfillment center in Coventry held industrial actions as they demanded a wage increase amid big rises in the cost of living. Popular influencer Andrew Tate has said the case against him was empty as he was taken for questioning at Romania's organized crime unit today. He is currently detained alongside his brother Tristan over allegations of rape and human trafficking. Prosecutors allege that the brothers recruited victims by seducing them and falsely claiming they wanted a relationship or marriage. Reports also say the victims were taken to properties on the outskirts of the Romanian capital, Bucharest, where they were sexually exploited and forced to create pornographic content. A former Romanian policewoman held with the two brothers in custody is also being questioned today. Andrew and Tristan have denied the allegations against them, adding that there was no evidence at all. Let's come back to Talk Sports. And in sports, the Cameroun Volleyball Federation calls on the national opinion that the first day of play in the local championship has been fixed for the 11th and 12th of February this year. And on that note, clubs who are to participate in the local championship should hasten up and regularize their situations. It should equally be noted that the volleyball championship will run between February and May 2023. The president of the Cameroun Athletic Federation, Emmanuel Motombi Mbome, has announced that the 2023 edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope promises to be an exceptional one, looking at the number of countries and athletes willing to participate in the race. Emmanuel Motombi Mbome made the statement as he supervised test race across the country, and at the prize money will be a surprise.
so many things are going to change, not only about pricing. And all we do is to give the event the standard. When we talk of an international race like this one, if it is endorsed by World Athletics, the first athlete should go back home very, very satisfied. As a matter of fact, we made the race at 3 million francs and moved it up to 10 million francs. What we are struggling to do now is to make sure that the athletes back home 10 million francs, which means the taxes that are supposed to be kept from the 10 million francs will be added to the amount, so that the athlete goes home with the cash price of 10 million francs, 7 million francs, and 5 million francs. I think if we do this, we must have done something good.
The Intermediate Lions of Cameroon have been ousted with heads down from the 7th edition of the African Nations Football Championship (CHAN) after losing to Niger 1-0 in last night's tussle in their attempt to grab a ticket to the quarterfinals of that competition in Algeria. Lawrence is a football writer and analyst, and talking to our reporter Eratus Ndoe, this is what he had to say about yesterday's defeat.
I think we should understand that the Intermediate Lions played their true level of football last night, and it shows clearly the level of local football in Cameroon, because when you look at the team has been unable to score goals. You look at the local championship, we have very few players who could take their name as players scoring many goals. The best goal scorer of the championship, for example, presently is Emmanuel Mahop with just 6 goals. And when you have a centre forward, Royalfm, who has scored just 3 goals in the championship, Kemaju, who has scored just 4 or 5 goals so far in the championship, it tells you that this Cameroonian team could create chances but would not be able to score. So it really reflects the level of local football. And as compared to Cameroon, Niger has done its homework. And when I mean to say homework, I mean by saying that Niger had studied the Cameroonian game, and they knew that the Ngom wing would be the strongest wing. That's why they doubled players on that wing, and we continued insisting playing on the right flank, whereas Niger had already blocked that sector. I think Alliance didn't fail. Tactically and technically, the MENA coach was stronger. I think his display and studied the Cameroonian team perfectly well. So every action we made was completely stopped by Niger.
Cameroonians have for their part been sharing their take after watching what they call a heartbreaking encounter last evening. Eratus Ndoe compiled their views in this report.
Curtains have been drawn after the Intermediate Lions of Cameroon have been drawn back from the competition with just 3 points after beating the Red Devils of Congo in their group opener. But faced with the menace of Niger, they were impotent, though many football diehards saw something different before the whistle was blown.
For that game, I was foreseeing a draw. As it came to happen, the goal came from a mistake made by the defense line together with the goalkeeper. But I will have to blame that team, because as I always say that in Cameroon, there are talents that needs to be developed. They really have the talent is there, but there was something lacking. The finishing was lacking.
In spite of the sublime performance in their last game and unable to replicate, Samuel blames the defeat too.
Ngom and Kaiba, they had some deficiency, especially Ngom. We saw that to give a shot on target was a problem for Ngom. Either he gave long passes, long shots. It was too bad. Yesterday it was too bad. They didn't meet up our expectation, and we saw a problem with ball control. The Lions had a very big problem.
To others, the defeat could be attributed to the absence of key players that created a great vacuum on the team. Meantime, Franklin Waji says CAF should review the way the competition are being organized.
CAF should do something about the organization of the CHAN, because imagine going for a competition where there are only 3 teams in the pool, and you know that only 1 team will qualify. Play 2 matches and you are going for Cameroon. How can people go for a competition? They play the first match and they have to stay for 8 days preparing for the second match. To me, it becomes very boring. The spirit will drop.
However, the Intermediate Lions after the game might have learned their lessons and will do better when coach Alium Saido might have re-strategized for future game. Thus, Niger will face Ghana in their quarterfinals in the same venue in Niger, Algeria.
Romulus Cuessier, good afternoon.
Bon après-midi, ma palazita.
You are here with a summary of this newscast in the French language.
Effectivement, en politique, bientôt la clôture de la réception des dossiers de candidature pour les sénatoriales 2023. L'échéance est notamment fixée au 28 janvier prochain, mais ce n'est pas encore la grande affluence à la direction générale des élections. Et dans ses démembrements, l'entité poursuit les préparatifs de cette élection prévue le 12 mars prochain. Le bal des hommages à la mémoire du journaliste Martinez Zogo, mort dans des conditions troubles, se poursuit. En filigrane des actions de solidarité observées depuis sa disparition, la société civile exige que soient élucidées les circonstances de son assassinat, avec notamment la mise en place d'une commission d'enquête transparente. Au-delà de nos frontières en Afrique du Sud, les coupures de courant génèrent des tensions. Plusieurs segments de la société civile ont exprimé leur ras-le-bol en dénonciation des délestages qui deviennent permanents dans le pays. Pointant du doigt le parti au pouvoir ANC, le parti d'opposition, l'Alliance démocratique, a organisé une marche de protestation ce 25 janvier dans les rues de Johannesburg. Et puis en football, sport, fin de parcours pour les Lions à prime hier au CHAN 2023 en Algérie. Les poulains d'Alioum Saïdou se sont inclinés 1-0 face au Niger, qui lui s'envole en quart de finale de la compétition.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our package for you this afternoon. The news was technically assisted by Salomon Esana, who is our copyright clerk. For camera control for our Facebook Live, Yannick Mba. The news was produced with news editing by Germain Ta. Editorial coaching, Abel Bella Samari. Coordination from station manager Carol Prudence Tienche. And general supervision from Pastor Emmanuel Noel Bisai. For presentation, my name is Mapala Zita. Thanking you for listening and wishing you a sportive afternoon in the company of the program that is coming up next, which is Sports R. And Abel Belasamari is right here. Good afternoon, Abel.
Thank you very much, Mapala Zita. It's a pleasure for me to sit beside you and to talk about sport this afternoon.
Yes, Sports R. What should we be expecting?
Yeah, the Sport R produced by Eva Tosunduye. Today, we are going to be talking about how to develop youth football in the country. If you look at the intermediate Lions of Cameroun have been eliminated, and a lot of fingers have been pointing towards that direction. That why is it that we don't have a feeder team, be it our different clubs level, be it at our national team. We have been talking about the creation of a youth football. Why is it not going operational? We are going to be looking at all those things, sir. And not forget our football of yesterday. Yes, a lot of people have said that we should come back to the issue of referees, as Mr. Akem was explaining in the last edition that when in those days when they were refereeing, you see they were refereeing, and sometimes you see somebody will just come with a big stick from nowhere